Welcome back to Creative Encounter Podcast. I am your host, Juiette Payne, and we are back for episode 33 of this podcast. You guys have been vibing with us. It's been having a great time here. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. If you've just been watching and haven't hit that button, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell too. If you're on Apple Podcasts, I want you to go ahead and leave us a review so we can reach so many more Kingdom creatives. And Spotify, same, give us a rating so again, we can rank up and reach so many Kingdom creatives through this podcast. But without further ado, I have a very special guest here, another singer-songwriter that we just met literally today. So I'm excited to see. This is going to be amazing. This is my good friend, singer Iesha. How you doing, Iesha?
Oh my goodness, I am so great. I'm so happy to be here.
I know, I'm so excited. This is cool because we come from like the same, what is it, like the same thread they say or whatever the phrase is. You know
same
what I'm saying?
thread.
Yeah. We come from because we're both singer-songwriters and are doing this for the Kingdom. So this is going to be an exciting conversation, guys. Super excited. Now, you know, since we haven't met, this is literally our first time meeting.
Yes.
We connected because of this podcast. She was watching some other episodes, and then we linked up. I was checking out her page. She was checking out mine. And we're like, yo, we got to make this happen, right? But something I noticed on your site was that it says that you are I believe it said multi-layered, inspirational artist, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's very fascinating to me. So I want you to kind of expound and explain what that means as you are a creative.
Yes. So it's so funny that you asked that because, I mean, over the years, it's just that description, like, who are you? Mm-hmm. You know, even as an artist, you know, people always want to know who you are, who you are. And it took me a while to kind of just, who am I? You know, but as I feel like different seasons in my life, I'm like, there's so many layers to who I am. I just can't really say, well, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a creative, I'm an innovator, you know, but I'm a Christian creative, you know, and it was just all of these things. And I started just really like, okay, how can I just minimize this, not minimizing me, but it can be a conversational starter, just like how it is right now. So multi-layered is just really, for me, just thinking about the many layers that the layers and the seasons that I've been through, even in my walk with just as an artist, with God, as a mom, you know, so many things. Because I want to put that in my description, like I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that.
It's like, let's just put it multi-layered.
So it's just like singer-songwriter, multi-layered, inspirational, because my music is very inspirational. You know, it has come to more like not a resolve, but it's very, like I used to do rock music, jazz, classical, and now it's like all of that infused. It's so many layers, and it's just like you just have to experience it, you know, and then you decide, well, however it makes you feel. That's the layers, you know.
That's it. I love that so much because I love how you say your experiences, the different seasons of life that you've been through, because with there being so many different things that we have gone through up to this point, as people in general, but as creatives, we're going to hit someone. We're going to bless someone with one or two facets of ourselves and make that connection, you know? And I love that you are able to kind of put that into that word, like multi-layered, so that it does draw the conversation. You know, that's what we want to do. You know, you tell someone like, you know, I'm a musician, you know, it's kind of just broad, right? Oh, what do you play? You know, like when we walked in, then you break it down, now this conversation started.
Yes.
You know, I love that. Okay, cool. So now I want to know, are you doing this full time? Are you working and doing other things as well? Like, what season are you in as far as your creativity in that?
Yeah, so I've always have done music. I would say it's full time for me, but I've always done, like, I've worked in corporate America, banking industry, finance, and, you know, that pays the bills, right? But when it comes to music, obviously, yes, I want to do it full time. Like, there's seasons where it's, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, you know? So it's like I am, in the summertime, I kind of tour. You know, I usually jump on tour, so I am doing it full time. And then more in the fall and winter season, it's more of me kind of, I'm creating and I'm getting that inspiration. But also, it's about me being able to provide for my family and be able to be wise where when I can say, hey, this summer I'm going to be off, my family's taken care of, my bills are taken care of, and I can just really give all of myself, you know, so.
I love that. That's so good. Now, you mentioned you have your mom.
I am.
Okay. So how many kids look at? One, two?
I have two.
You have two? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
My son is 19 and my daughter
Nice.
is 14.
Holy smoke. So you got like those two different seasons, two drastically different seasons. Because first of all, with a girl, I would just, assume a girl going through high school is completely different than the guy going through high school, first off. Yeah, and now he's past that.
He's in college,
Wow.
he's home now for this summer, and it's so great to have him back, but so I've been with my daughter, in her first year in high school, and it has been a bit challenging because the world is different, right? How our children are looked at, how they're perceived, and how they look at the world is different as well. But with both of my children, I'm just like, God, they're yours. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, I want them to meet you, you to meet them where they are. I want them to find you while they're young. They know where home is. They know where the nurturing in home is. But the world, it's ready to eat our children alive, But I'm so grateful to have, number one, I always tell my children, like, they know that they have a praying mom. They know that they are covered, but they have to still decide what kind of young men and women that they want to be, so.
That's so good. I love it. And then you also have that at home. You have that foundation, you're teaching them the word.
Yes.
They have that from home so they can know they can always come back to that because that's what's going to be able to help them in every single situation that the world tries to throw at them, So I love that. But speaking of foundation, I want to go back a little bit and see, when did you start getting into music? Like, was it, from your parents, or was this just an opportunity that came? You're like, oh, this is a gift I didn't even know. Like, when did it all kind of start, and then you just kind of went all in?
Yeah, I feel like I came out singing.
Yeah.
I was told that I came out with my eyes open, and then my aunt gave me the name Iesha because Iesha means alive.
No way.
Yeah, so I feel like since I was very young, I was always the one that's I have a musical family. I'm just really the only one that's really doing it professionally. Yeah. But out of all my mom had 6 children. I'm the baby girl.
Yeah.
All my sisters and brothers can sing. Yeah. And I just used to watch them as well, because you're the youngest. My sisters can sing. My brothers were very talented. And, I used to watch them, and I'm picking up bits and pieces from each and every last one of them. So, and then my grandmother as well. So we had like a big mama, a lady, a big mama, right?
Yeah, big mama, yeah.
Yep. So you had the lady, the big mama on the block that just nurtured all the children, So she kind of raised me and some of my brothers and sisters because my mom was a bit wild. And so she raised us. She kept us in church and things like that. And from like 4 years old on up, I mean, I was singing. She had us in church. We were like the 3 little angels. So, and she was like a very famous, very well-known gospel singer where she trained a lot of people. So we were like her little prodigies. We were 3, 4 years old. So we opened up for her gospel group. So it was kind of, the foundation was in that, where I kind of like, oh, okay. So after a while, I think like 7 and 8, I ended up moving with my dad. So music wasn't as
prominent at the time.
Yeah, prominent in my life, because it was like, okay, now Big Mama is gone, the church is gone. Now me and my sister were living with my father, and we're like 7 and 8. So that foundation of just like God, and like my dad was, that foundation of like God and things like that. It was just like, okay, we're living with my dad now. He loves us, and this is what it is. But I think I found myself again in kind of like 7th, 8th grade, where you're just like this teacher. It's always a teacher,
Yeah. That's so funny. That's a theme that we've had. Like, if you backtrack on some of these episodes, I've seen that someone was like, yo, this teacher, this instructor was one that encouraged and motivated me to do this.
It kind of brings it back. Some things when you're taken out of an environment, like the foundation of God is instilled in you, and then you're taken out of that environment, and there was love and things. Of course, I love my dad in the house, but God, we weren't going to church like we were. We're Big Mama. We were going to church like 7 days a week. We're like,
I mean, like instead of like Charlie's Angels, y'all were Big Mama's Angels.
Yeah, right. But I feel in grammar school, going into high school, I found, I was trying to find myself. I knew I had a voice during that time. Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, those were, and then I think like Destiny Child had came out. I was like, okay, pay my bills, but I like these ballads and this something that just makes your heart and your soul just like. I was like, I want to change the world like that. And my dad, although he was not a spiritual man during that time. He introduced me to a lot of great records like Anita Baker, Sade. And I just remember my dad, he would come home from work and he would play his records. And I would just be in my room dancing because I'm like, I got that low register from Anita Baker. I got that high register from Patti LaBelle. And I would just be, so that was my time to like bond with him. And it was just really nurturing again, like what God was saying, like, yes. Wow. Take it all, because you are gonna use it again.
Yep. Oh man, so many influences build. Like for example, it'd be basic. It'll be like just secular things, like you mentioned, that God is using to propel our ministry and what He's calling us to do. Right. So like basic movie, like I was saying, like Drumline. I mentioned this before. How seeing Drumline is what got me into playing music.
Wow.
Yeah, literally just that one movie is why I play multi-instruments, is why I perform, why all these different things and stuff, It's crazy. And then the reason I started songwriting was because I had a friend who was working on the song and he needed an extra lyric for something. Went home and I was just kind of playing with it, brought it back, and like he loved it.
That's incredible.
And then, it was just crazy. Then we were like teenagers, and then from there I just started writing my own stuff. But yeah, it was just like little basic stuff, guys. Like, this is the way I'm going to do it to kind of set you up. Just
those layers, though, right?
Yeah,
it's just like the peeling back of like there's, with God, there's more. There's never just like, this is it. Yeah. So we just have to tap into it,
So amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So then, now, I'm assuming when you moved in with your dad, your big mama, she passed? Is that what the transition was for?
No, the transition was more like, I had a mom, she had 6 kids. She gave us to Big Mama, where some of us split up. So we all of the 6 kids were never together. So like 4 of us maybe went with Big Mama's. The other 2 went somewhere else, and then it was like 2 of us were left with Big Mama. My dad's like, no, I want my kids. So it's like really, like when you think about it, you're young. I'm like, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I was born as a child of God. You know what I mean? And already things doors and destined doors, just this journey for me. So my dad, it was a lot of courts, battles and stuff like that. And we're young. We didn't understand. We just knew Big Mama loved us. And that was a time for that. We knew my dad loved us and he wanted his 2 girls. So we ended up, living with him. And then, of course, I was just, after that, we just really never saw her again until we were older enough to like visit her. And then she passed when we were like in high school and stuff like that.
Wow. That's special. That's special. Yeah, because I grew up, same thing, over in the Austin community. Grew up Big Mama upstairs, grandparents on the first floor, and we were down in the basement kind of living there. So I was always around the old school music like you.
Yes.
All of that. So I think that's why a lot of my music is very, like you said, kind of more ballads, kind of chill vibes, kind of soulful kind of feel to it and everything like that, because that's just like what I grew up just loving and listening to, I love that. Now, does your dad sing as well?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say, I wonder if you were doing like Anita Baker, Patti LaBelle, all that, all singing together.
He doesn't, but my dad is like, my dad passed away 2 years ago. Okay. So my dad was a hopeless, like, romantic. Yeah. So, I mean, the Anita Bakers, like, he would just play her songs over and over, and that gave me so much, I would say, hope, because it was just like, and then he would watch like the documentaries or the like the concerts and things like that, and that gave me vision. You know what I mean? Although it may not have been, I knew I wanted to sing love songs. I knew how I wanted to make people feel, and it wasn't in like a sexual way. Can I say that?
Yeah.
I knew I just wanted them to feel good because I knew my dad felt good. I'm like, he's taking care of 2 girls. He's working. He's stressed. He would come, have a drink or 2. And I'm like, these women soothe, their voice soothed him. And they actually, they were kind of like they rocked me to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make others feel that way. I didn't know how. I knew it would be singing, but I could just always picture myself in the mirror or looking at my shadow, and I would be talking like, "Thank you.
Yep.
This is what."
I love it. The same thing that all of us artists still do to this day
Right, like,
in the bathroom.
Yeah, to practice
You know,
it.
right?
Like.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much why God made mirrors. You know,
Right.
just for us. You know, just for us specifically.
Just for us creatives.
Exactly, just for creatives. Huh? Okay. So like, when did you kind of go into it professionally? So like, did you go to college?
I did. I went to Columbia College.
Oh, you went to Columbia. Cool. What did you study?
I studied music, arts, entertainment, and music business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So with the music business side, I mean, that's super helpful because you as an artist, you kind of are knowing like the back end things to do as well.
Yeah, so I was in and out of Columbia, okay? It was very expensive, right?
So about 10 years. So
Yeah. But yeah, I went to Columbia for some time, and then I ended up leaving and going on tour.
Okay.
You know, so...
Before finishing.
Yeah, before finishing.
Yep.
So I was just like, you know what? I can you have those thoughts like I can always go back. And I didn't have children during that time. Then I had children, and then your whole focus kind of changed. And I'm I'm a avid like learner, self learner. Like anything, I'm like I can just pick up like that, you know. So I mean, I went to Columbia. Those are my studies. But now we live in a world where you can take any class, learn, pay for it, write off, you know, certificates and things like that, and you just go work. You know, it's the experience, you know, the experience of life and being around producers and working in studios and being around very successful people where I had this real life like experiences that sometimes school wasn't teaching me.
Yep. Yeah, because that was a big thing. Like I studied architecture, and the whole time I was doing architecture at UIC, I was like, man, I want to like either minor. I was thinking so many times to like kind of switch and just focusing on music. So I took like little music classes in between, but that was a big thing for me. Was like jumping into that because we would be performing and everything, but I did want to learn. I guess like the theoretical side of different things and stuff like that too, but it's nothing like the experience of it because like going back to architecture, we learned all this stuff in there, but it wasn't until like we were out in the field or had to go and do these different projects or hunting out for the jobs and stuff that we realized like, man, this is what it's about. You know, this is what it's about. So I love that you were able to, in the midst of that, go out and tour and get hands on the business side.
Yes.
You know, and it was kind of coupled with what you were learning in class and everything.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a songwriter, this is something I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
Because I'm delving in, like, you guys go back and check out that episode, a couple episodes ago about when I was talking about saying no to things, you know, really just diving in and saying yes to what's great and saying no to like those little things that kind of come up so you just really focus and zero in. So like the Lord's just been speaking to me. We've been having some deep conversations the last couple of weeks.
Come on.
Regarding just really focusing on the songwriting tip, you know, just really focusing on it. Because it'll be here and there, but I think sometimes we can't really call ourselves like, oh, I'm a songwriter, I'm an artist, all these different things, unless it's what you actually do.
Yes.
Like it could be something that's just like, oh, if I think about it and it comes up, I'm able to just write a song. But if you're working for somebody else, you will literally dedicate 30 to 40 hours working for someone else. Like how you were saying, it's paying the bills.
Yep.
This is not my gifting or passion. It's just something I can do to pay the bills, right? But you're dedicating all this time to them. The manager is giving them all your energy, going back tired, you know, doing whatever you can do to go back to sleep, go and do it again. It's like if I'm literally a musician or a songwriter and stuff, all the things that entail that, it needs to be my full-time thing, you know. I want to focus my attention fully on that. So even with that, you as a singer-songwriter, do you have like a specific, I guess, system, you know, some type of practical thing that you can kind of offer or share with other songwriters for them to be able to kind of just keep the pen to pad and kind of keep the songs flowing? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I would definitely say like collaborate, right? You have to travel, you have to see the world.
Yeah.
You know, you can't stay in just your own environment because you can I had writer's block for a minute because I wasn't experiencing anything. I was just like being a mom. I was working. A lot of my creativity, I just felt was just like, I wasn't motivated, you know? So my advice as far as like, I say singer-songwriter because if you're a singer, you are a songwriter, right? I would just say constantly just network, experience life, you know, and I was like, after leaving Columbia, I was in a lot of writing groups, you know, and although they may have been stronger and I was a singer, but I still consider myself a songwriter because even if I was adding a line or two, I'm a songwriter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's
And
right.
then even now, like I have just so much music over the years that's just, you know, just from me journaling, you know, so I journal a lot and those are songs. And then I pray about like, God, what do you want me to say? You know, because before I would just be writing because the beat was great or someone told me to write it. But I really want to have purpose behind what I'm doing. So what I may be going through or even having conversations like we could have a conversation right now and it's more like, tell me about your life. Tell me about where you are right now. And then after you do that, we'll put on a track and say, now let's write a song about what we just, you know, spoke about and what you're experiencing right now. You know, you just have to tap into it, you know, just like we do everything else, tap into it.
Yeah. And that just reminds me of what you just said, the experience part. So pretty much as songwriters, we have daily experiences. Like you say, journal that stuff, right? That those are your songs. Each day you're living out that specific song, you know? And now you want to share that with the world. You don't keep it to yourself, but just stay in tune with what's happening around you.
Yes.
You know, you could just pretty much write that down. Like, I'm having a bad day today. I'm having a great day today. They just called me and said this. I got this bill. I got to pay whatever and stuff.
Right.
You know, these turn into dope songs and stuff. Because
They do.
the whole thing with songs is that you're connecting and relating with someone. So someone hears this, like, man, I can relate with that.
Yes.
And then you put some rhythm to that too, so I can really feel it too. You know, emotionally and physically too. So all of that together, working together.
Yeah. And then also, I love watching movies, not just any movie. I feel like if I wasn't a singer-songwriter and doing creative things, that I would be probably a movie critic, you know? So I love movies, but I love movies because of the soundtrack. Like I was, as a little girl, I'd be like, I'm going to do scores for soundtracks.
I'm going to ask you right now. I'm going to have you continue that. When you watch a movie, do you like sit there and like kind of like look at the people in the credits and all that when it's over?
Yes.
Yes, I'm the same way. Or even when it's starting and it's showing like the little stuff around, I'm like, okay, this is the director, and I want to see like who did the score, who's the producer, all these different things, because those are the things, I don't know, just like as creatives, we're like, who's the team? You appreciate.
You do. It's a lot of work, you know? Like, it is a lot of work. It's just like sometimes we just watch a movie and it's over. But even at the movies, I'll sit and be like, wow, that was that person. And then sometimes I'll go check out other music and things that they have done, you know? Because I aspire to do it, you know, as well. So
that's so good. I love that so much. That's cool.
So that gives me inspiration.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you have to tell me, what are some projects that you are currently working on? I see you just recently had a performance at, I believe it was So Far.
Yes.
Yeah, that was dope. Cool. So that was awesome. I saw like, you know, little tidbits, you know, on Instagram. But what are some projects that you're currently working on, whether you're writing a new song or like what's some stuff happening this year?
Yeah, so, wow. So I am just now releasing music. It has literally been probably 10 years. A lot has happened.
They know. I've been saying the same thing as far as like, I got stuff that's just been sitting. I need to get this stuff, push this stuff out. But yeah, go ahead.
It's been, a lot has happened when I even released my first EP. I was in a rock band, and I definitely wasn't in a headspace that I am now, you know. You know, like from my band splitting up, my bass player, my number one, like passing away. Like so much had happened where I just really lost, and even God, like I've been baptized for like 7 years now, just really like not turning away. Although, you know, you grow up in church and it's very traditional. Like I met God like, 33 years ago, like really, really had an encounter with him. Like, I love that your podcast is a creative encounter, right? But as far as like for this So Far event that just happened, I introduced a new song just to test out, and it was called Oceans, right? And it was so beautiful. It was very emotional as well for me because, you know, artists were sensitive about our music. We're sensitive about the things that we share. And I really didn't want to move. I don't want to move without God, you know. And I just feel like this is my year, that he's saying, like, you can speak now. Because there was a moment where I couldn't sing, I couldn't speak, like, I could just listen, you know? And I'm at a place where I teach, like, facilitate music healing sessions. When I couldn't sing, I was like, well, what can I do, God? You know? And he was like, well, you need to get back in touch with finding purpose, like, in your music, and you can help others do that. So I partner with, like, community organizations and their participants. They take part in this music healing where we just analyze songs. So when I couldn't sing, as far as songwriting too, I would just read songs, you know, read. I'm like, oh, this feels good. And then the music added to it, I would just listen to the instrumentals. So with me, I just released, I'm working on now putting together this kind of orchestra inspired composition or just music that just makes you just feel again, you know, just a spiritual experience. Like, I get very emotional because I know how far I've come. And I know I've done all of that to get to here. And even if one person loves it and enjoy it, like, it is well with my soul, you know?
Oh man, that's gonna be so exciting. Even just like music today, I just love when there's actual music, actual musicians playing the instruments. You can actually emote with it and just really feel that, you know, a lot of today, you know, we have, like, you know, digital sounds and stuff kind of put in there, which is fine and everything. But I love to hear, like, the actual raw, you know, the strumming and the strings and then the beat of the drum and just all of those, you know, all together and stuff. It's going to be beautiful. Can't wait for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No, right? So right now it is spring. Any summer stuff coming up? And I mentioned touring potentially.
Yeah, so I usually jump on, like, a tour just to support other artists. Like, last year I was on tour with this artist. He was an international artist and he was in the States. So he did, like, thing, you know, I'm a mom, so my son was preparing to head off to college, so I didn't want to be too far away from, I want to experience all that, you know? So a friend from LA hit me up last year and he's like, hey, Ish, we're on, like, this 3-month tour. We need a vocalist. We need someone powerful. And I mentioned you. And so it was a great tour. It was very flexible. I was able to support and just breathe, you know, because I've been so much mom focused. I've been ministry focused. I've been evangelizing, like, so focused. So I'm just like, okay, God, you're allowing me to, you can trust me to go on this tour, you know, and a lot of the band members, you know, we're all from church and stuff like that. And I think this year I'll probably do the same, just working out some things to say, it has to make sense for me, right? Because it has to be aligned with what I'm doing. So either I'm going to create my own for the fall, like a mini tour, and just really work on, I'm still praying about it, right? There's tons of opportunity out there, but I'm not, I've been there and done that, where I'm never really in a rush to say yes to things until I really pray on it. The opportunities are there, but what if God for June, July, he really has me, Iesha, this is your time to sit, create, even if it's an EP, create what you need to create, and then you're on your own tour. Like, God is so much bigger than, you know, what we God is so much bigger than like, oh, just going on tour with someone else. So, I'm still in prayer about a lot of things.
Good. Oh man, but it's gonna be exciting either way because you are being sensitive to God's spirit, and you're not paying attention to opportunities as much as being like, okay, that's an opportunity. Let me just go ahead and take it.
Oh yeah,
just go ahead and take it. You know, that's a big thing that I was talking about here. It's just like any little thing that will come up, and that's how stuff just piles up.
Correct.
You look back years past, and you're like, I didn't even finish what I was commissioned to do by God. I helped a lot of other people, but it's like there's something specific that he's calling me to do, and these other things can be distractions. It's all about, like how the scriptures even say, like you think about the Apostle Paul.
Yes.
And he was saying, about being married, things like that. And he's like, even if if some of you guys aren't married, that's less of a distraction for you to, really give into the Lord.
Yes.
There's just one extreme there that he's speaking of. But these are just day-to-day things, like any small little thing that pops up.
You don't want that divided attention,
that's the thing,
versus what God is. And sometimes I feel like we say yes to things because it's like, okay, well, let me focus on this because it's fearful of what God is trying to really do in our lives.
That's true too.
That's
true
and
too.
I cannot do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we sabotage our own, and we look back, and it's like 5-10 years have passed, and like you said, we're like all this that we've done for everyone else, and God is like, but focus on what I'm trying to do for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you give an example of a time where you may have put, because I love that you said that. That's so true. I've found myself doing that before. Just like, these things are more safe. This thing, I enjoy it. I'm good at it. It's safe. So I'm going to keep putting this on the back burner, that scary, big, huge thing that he's calling me to do, that he's equipped us to do. Yeah. But then you're just like, I don't know, I'll eventually get to that. And then you look back and be like, I think that was part of the reason why I never jumped on that or haven't started that thing yet. Do you have like a situation where that you feel that may have happened to you?
So many.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I will share is that whole equip, I think, yes, there are many situations where I just always have felt like, oh, I need to learn a little bit more, or I need to do this in order to get to that. And it's just like, no, you just really need to trust God because he equips the unequipped, like he makes the impossible possible, like I think we operate so much on our own strength and our own just such a limited understanding where we do sabotage. We don't, but we're constantly saying, why not me? Why? And it's just like, well, this is why, because you're not listening to the Spirit. You're not being guided by me. You're not understanding it is my will, not your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. God looks down on us and he it's already planned out, the beginning, middle, and the end, but we're constantly not right now, but you have to surround yourself around people that are, spiritual people that are able to shepherd and guide you as well and speak life into you, not just the culture. This is where the culture is moving. We don't move with the culture, you know what I mean? And you have to be able to be okay with that. And sometimes you have to be able to, for me, walk alone. I'm okay with just that's why I'm the ocean and when God is quiet, the first line is when God is quiet, I can find him by the ocean. He welcomes me. He embraces all of my insecurities. We will forever be sinful people, but with God, we can sin less, So it's just with him, I'm greater, but I have to become less. But with him, I am greater, and all things are possible. So I can say no. I'm happy to say you can offer me $1 million, and I'm just does this make sense?
Yep.
Man,
oh my goodness, it's so good. I can go on and on about this topic. I love this. Okay, so you pretty much done it a couple of times. I always at the end ask the individual to share something that they want to share with the artist who's listening so that they can be encouraged and motivated. You've done that a couple times already. I'm
I have. Okay, great.
Right. I'm actually doing one more again though. Hold on. So pretty much what's one thing that you want to leave with the creator for them to be able to ponder on, for them to just really focus and zero in on something to think about,
I would say something that I would love to leave with the creatives is you're so much more than what the world tells you. Because I think for a very long time, it was just what people were telling me I was, but people limit you, and there's so much that's dormant inside of you that's God just trying to tap into it. I literally had to step away from the industry to really walk into my full potential because I was only a musician, right? But when I stepped away and God said, you do a lot of things well, Ish, but you don't do me well, okay? And I'm going to say with a lot of creatives, we can do so many things well, but these are the gifts that God has given us. But when we don't do him well, nothing will succeed.
That's so good.
Nothing.
That's so good.
And I had to learn that.
Wow.
I had to learn that. And I had to, when I couldn't sing, I had to tap into other things that God was like, well, I'm shutting that down because if I don't, this has become your idol. If I don't shut this down, you will not tap into the woman that I know that you can be. And I look in the mirror now, it was almost 3-4 years. I used to cry, be like, God, don't forget me. I want to sing. But he was like, the more you draw, seek me, seek the kingdom, build yourself up spiritually. That's like, I'll give you, that's nothing. Of course, I want to give you all that, right? And I look at myself now in the mirror, and I'm just so proud of just the woman that I'm becoming, because I'm not weighed down with who I'm trying to be, because as long as, God is with me, I know I'm going to reach my highest peak.
That's so good. Wow. Hallelujah. I love that. Yes, thank you so much for that. Man, I was about to wrap it up, but you did mention, you said it was a season where you weren't able to sing. Now, was that literally, physically you weren't able to sing? Or, what was that season about?
It was, physically. It was literally, I had no desire. I was so burnt out from just being pulled in so many directions. Like I said, I lived in LA for a minute. And I literally had to make a choice. I had to decide, what I didn't want and what I wanted. And the things that I was seeing, I was like, well, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be around my children. We all, as creators, we want to save the world through our arts. But I knew that I was just operating not even 1% of my talent. And I needed to, God just shut it down where for a whole 3 years, I just went to ballets, orchestras, because I had no desire to sing, but I still had my ears to listen. And that's why I just felt like this, just God wrapping his arms around me and just saying I remember you. I still remember you, because I was still able to feel, that's why music is so different from me now, because before it was more of a performance I was doing. And okay, you guys happy? Great. You get on dance, you do the dance, and you're like, okay, bye. Give me my check, right? But now it was more like it has to be purpose behind. I'm that same person that's singing to you on stage, and when I get off the stage, I'm that same person that's willing to sit with you and have a conversation and talk about God with you. That same feeling that let's make that last. It's not just a moment. It's I'm that same person that's about building relationships. God gave me that through not me focused on myself and what I could. Putting all my hopes in what I could do, but putting my hopes in what he could do. And I kind of learned that through being silent, being forced to be silent. I couldn't sing. I didn't even want to be around people. I was like, ugh. And God gave me that. He loved me where I could love others, But it took a minute.
Yeah, wow. And then just how God puts everything together for our good. He used that season.
Yep.
Kept that ear open and allowed for you to still absorb, get everything you need, so that when he was ready to put you back out there, and everything going, you had all of this in your arsenal. You know? So, man, I absolutely love it. Wow. Man, this is a great interview.
Oh, thank you. It was really great.
Iesha, thank you so much for coming out.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Really.
Last thing I want you to do is just tell everyone how they can follow you and what's up.
Yes, so my name is Singer Iesha, but you can find me at Iesha Sturdivant, and we'll have that in the IeshaSturdivant.com. That's where you can find out where I will be appearing and next performances and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So all of that, again, will be in the description, so make sure you check that out. And then also, remember, Creative Encounter Podcast is a nonprofit under ACT International. So we would love for you to partner with us, to be a monthly financial partner, so we keep the podcast going, and with Juiette Payne Music, continue to do different events and reach people with the gospel through music and the arts. So we would love for you to join our team. So again, thank you so much for checking out the podcast, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.